Okay, class, we're about to start lesson 1, part 2 in chapter 5. It says multiplying and dividing sign numbers. So in algebra, multiplication is not shown using the times sign X. Now again, this came out a little faded, so you will need to turn to your textbook so you can read along with me. And it's on page 320. Okay. Now, oh, actually, it's not 320. Sorry about that. It's actually 318 that the page is on. It says, in algebra, multiplication is not shown using the times sign X because the symbol could be easily mistaken for the variable X. Instead, multiplication is shown using a dot or by placing two numbers next to each other. To avoid confusion, one or both of the numbers may be enclosed in parentheses. For example, the expression -5 times 6 and -5 in parentheses 6 and -5 parentheses and parentheses 5, -5 and parentheses 6 all means -5 times 6. Now in algebra, division can be written with the division symbol, but is usually shown with a line that means divided by. The expression 20 divided by -5 means 20 divided by -5, as does 20 slash -5. When multiplying or dividing sign numbers, use the following rules. If the signs are the same, the answer is positive. If the signs are different, the answer is negative. Now, one thing I will say is this here. What they should have said in this situation is, if you have an even amount of the same sign, then the answer is positive. If it is an odd amount of the sign, then the answer is negative. So, for instance, let's look down at example 1. You notice here you got one positive and one negative. So your answer here would be negative. But if you look at example 2, you notice you had two negative signs. So two negative signs means that your answer is positive. So basically what it comes down to, if the numbers are all positive, you don't have to worry about that. The answer will be positive, like we did in our previous lessons when we did multiplication or division. We only did positive numbers, so all our answers were positive. Now, when you're dealing with the negative numbers, if there's an odd amount of negative signs, then your answer is going to be negative. The only time your answer would not be negative is if you multiply or divide using some form of zero. So what I want to do to skip over all of this, I want to go to actual problems here. And that will be on the next page. So we can actually practice this. There are actually, looks like about, 30 problems on this page. And we're going to do all 30 of them. And it tells us that we may not use a calculator. Now we are going to eventually use a calculator, but as it stands now, we're not going to use it. So now let us do this next problem here. So we will start out with problem number 1. Problem number 1. It says 5 times 4. Now if you notice, we have in parentheses, it's just 5 times 4, which is 20. Because it's all positive numbers, so your answer is going to be positive. So number 2. We have 7 times -3. Now, if you notice, we don't see a 0 here. So we count how many negative values we have. We only have 1. It's an odd amount. So our answer is going to be negative. And 7 times 3 is 21. Now, with multiplication and division, it doesn't matter which number is larger. It all comes down to the amount of negative signs you have. It's whether it's not, it will be negative. Positive, again, if it's all positive, it's positive. If it's an even amount of negative signs, it'll be positive. So number 3, we had -8 times 6. We only have one negative sign here, so our answer is negative. and 8 times 6 is 48. Number 4, we have negative 2 times negative 9. We count the negative signs. It's 2 of them. So we know our answer is going to be positive, and it'll be positive 18. Okay, number 5, we have negative 10 times positive 1. We have one negative sign here, and so our answer is going to be negative, and 10 times 1 is 10. All right, number 6, we have 9 divided by 3. Both of these are positive. 9 divided by 3 is just 3. Number 7, we have 12 divided by negative 4. We only have one negative sign here, so our final answer will be negative, and 12 divided by 4 is 3. Problem number 8, negative 25 divided by 5. We have one negative sign here, so it's negative, and 25 divided by 5 is 5. Number 9, we have negative 18 divided by negative 9. A negative divided by negative is positive because we have two negative signs here, and 18 divided by 9 is 2. Number 10, 40 over negative 8. We have one negative sign here. 40 divided, well, we carry the negative sign. 40 divided by 8 is just 5. So number 10 is negative 5. Number 11, we have 14. It looks like 14 times a negative 2. We have one negative sign here. We'll bring over the negative. 14 times 2 is 28. So your final answer there is a negative 28. Problem number 12. We have negative 75 divided by 25. Oh, actually the negative 75 is in a parenthesis. The 25 is not inside of a parenthesis, but it still means the same thing. We only have one negative sign here, so our answer would be negative. 75 divided by 25 is 3, so it'd be negative 3. So problem 13, we have 13 divided by negative 13. We have one negative sign here, so we carry over our negative. 13 divided by 13 is 1. So now we go to problem 14. Problem 14, we have negative 5 times 15. We have one negative symbol, so we carry over the negative sign. 5 times 15 is 75. So problem 15, we have 18 divided by 3. These are two positives, so we know our answer is going to be positive. 18 divided by 3 is 6. So that took care of the first 15 problems. Now, we come here. They tell us we may use a calculator. So let me see. I hope this calculator is still up. Oh, no, it's not. All right. Let me see if I can pull this calculator back up. All right. Okay, so I pulled up the calculator here. So now, what I want to do before we do it in the calculator, I want to show you this just in case you encounter this without being able to use a calculator. So if you look here at problem 16, you have 25 times 4 in your numerator, and then in your denominator you have negative 5. The same rule applies here. We only have one negative symbol, so our final answer will be negative. So I wanted you to see that as far as the symbol is going. Now, we could put this in our calculator. I'll move the calculator over here. But listen, 25 times 4 is 100. And then we will bring over the 5. 100 divided by 5 would give us 20, so it's negative 20. But we're going to put this in our calculator. You will hit the N over D. You will type in 25, parenthesis, then 4, close your parenthesis. Hit the down arrow. Now this right here is the negative key. This is the minus key. If you hit minus and then the 5, it's going to give you an error message. Let me show you that. Minus and 5. It gave you an error message. The reason why it gave you an error message is because you want negative, and this is the negative key. So let me delete that, and then I can hit the negative key. So we had negative and then 5, and press enter, and it gives us negative 20. All right, problem 17, we had negative 3, negative 5, 2, and negative 10. Now the reason why I want to talk about this before we put in a calculator, we should know what sign this has. We count the negatives. It's 1, 2, 3. So we know our final answer should be negative. Now we could just multiply this out. We put parenthesis, negative 3, close your parenthesis, open parenthesis, negative 5, close the parenthesis, open parenthesis, 2, close the parenthesis, then open parenthesis, negative 10, and close your parenthesis, and press enter. So it's negative 300. And that is your final answer. Now, looking at problem 18, you should be able to tell what sign your final answer should have. With problem 18, your final answer should be a positive, because here you have 2 negatives. 2 negatives will give you a positive when you're dividing or multiplying. Okay, so now we put this in our calculator. 20 divided by parenthesis, negative 5, parenthesis, divided by parenthesis, negative 2. Press enter. So your final answer here would be positive 2. So problem 18, the final answer is positive 2. Now we go here to problem 19. Problem 19, it's all multiplication and division. We count how many negative signs we have here. It's only 1. So we know our final answer should be negative. So our final answer for problem 19 should be negative. So we'll hit N over D. We hit 6, open parenthesis, 5, close your parenthesis, press the down arrow, open parenthesis, negative 3, close the parenthesis, open parenthesis 2, close the parenthesis, and press enter. So it's negative 5. Now let me move this over a little bit. Okay, this is good. So 20. So problem 20, we had negative, we could tell we got 2 negative signs here. So that means our answer is going to be positive. So now we can put this in our calculator. We had negative 11, 2, negative 5, and then 6. That gives us 660. Okay, so now that took care of 18, 19, and 20. Now we go to problem 21. Now 21, parenthesis, well, first of all, we had 2 negative signs here, so our answer would be positive. So we had 12, negative 2, divided by negative 2. And our final answer here is 12. All right, 22. We look here, all multiplication, 3 negative signs, so our final answer would be negative. So we do parenthesis, -4, parenthesis, -6, parenthesis, -5, and that gave us -120. 23, only one negative sign here is all multiplication and division. So your final answer would be negative. So now we put this in our calculator. 50 divided by 2. Oh, the 2 is in parentheses. 50 divided by 2. In parentheses, -5. Press enter. It's -125. All right, next. We go to problem 24, 25, 26, and 27. So, let me see. 24, 25, 26, and 27. All right, now what I want to do, I want to go through here for 24, 25, 26, and 27 and mark down the sign that it should have. So we had 3 negative signs here, so 24 would be negative. For 25, we have 2 negative signs there, so 25 should be positive. For 26, we had 3 negative signs, so 26 final answer should be negative. And then 27, we have 0 here. Remember, this is all multiplication with 0. So we know anything times 0 is just 0. So we already had an answer for number 27. Because remember, I said that the negative, counting the negative signs does not matter when you're multiplying or dividing by some form of 0. So 27 is just 0. Now we just got to do 24, 25, and 26. So we had -1, parenthesis, we had 2 in parenthesis, we had -3 in parenthesis, then we have 2 in parenthesis, and then we also have a -1 in parenthesis. And our final answer here would be -12. That's problem 24. Now problem 25, we press N over D. We have parenthesis 3, parenthesis -4, parenthesis 2, then parenthesis 5. Then we hit the down arrow, then the denominator is -6. Our final answer there is 20. All right, problem 26, N over D, we have 4, parenthesis -4. Then we hit the down arrow, we had -8, and then parenthesis -2. That gives us -1. Now we just finished problems 24, 25, 26, and 27. Now, we go here to problem 28 through 30. It says choose the one best answer to each question. Janice is creating a computer spreadsheet. A portion of her work is shown below. It's okay, using the information from the spreadsheet, what is the value of the expression A1 times C1 times A3 divided by B3 times A3? Note in the spreadsheet, the symbol star means multiplication. All right, so let's look at 28. 28, we want A1. So A1 is -3. Then we have C1, which is 7. And then we have A3, which is -1. Now, divided by, in parentheses, we have B3, which is 3, times A3, which is negative 1. Now, typically, we'll put this negative 1 in its own parentheses, so I'd be consistent with it. Now, we notice there's no zeros here, but we do have 1, 2, 3 negative values. So we know our final answer is going to be some negative value. So now we can multiply. This is the top of the fraction. This is the bottom of the fraction. Negative, well, let me just put it in the calculator. Well, let me do it by hand. Negative 3 times negative 7 gives us a negative 21. Negative 21 times negative 1 is positive 21. So your numerator will be 21 divided by 3 times negative 1, which is negative 3. So 21 divided by negative 3 will give you negative 7. Now, negative 7 is actually B. That's 28. Now, if we want to put this in our calculator, so it was, let me write down these numbers. It was, well, N over D, then parenthesis, negative 3, seven, and then negative 1. Then on the bottom, it'll be parenthesis 3 times parenthesis negative 1, and then do a double close parenthesis. Press enter. Your answer is negative 7, which we have here. Okay, now I could have rewrote this, but I'll do this in another problem as far as rewriting it. But our final answer is negative 7, which is B. Now we go to problem 29. It says the product of 2 and 8 is divided by negative 8. What is the following expression? Which of the following expression could be used to find the value of the statement? So first of all, let's write out what the statement is saying. So we got 29. Product means multiplication. So it's saying 2 times 8 is divided by negative 8. Okay. So far that's 29. 2 times 8 divided by negative 8. Now that would give us C, even though they did one less parenthesis. So our answer here would be C. Okay, problem 30. Which of the following is a true statement about the value of the expression? Now, if you notice here, we had 3 negative signs, and it's all multiplication, so we know our answer is going to be negative. It says the result is a fraction. We had no division here, so we know A is out. B, the result is greater than 1. We know that that's not true. It's greater than positive 1 because we already determined that our answer is going to be negative. And all positive numbers are greater than all negative numbers. So, C, the result is a negative number. So far, C is our answer. Then we go to D. The result is a positive number. So we know our answer here is just C. It's going to be negative. Now, just to further this exercise, I'm going to multiply this out so you all can see that the answer is negative. So we go through, we have parentheses 52, and then negative 103, and then negative 45, negative 8, and then 3. And it gives us a negative number. So that was our answer. 30 was C. And now we're done with the second part of lesson 1 from chapter 5. Now we'll upload this to YouTube. Have a wonderful day.